How's it going, everybody? It is Ethan on Koder, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Build Twitter. We are in episode 43, and in this episode, I kind of had to split up a little bit weird. I'm sorry. So we are going to focus on the Redux and actually getting an asynchronous call working. So we're going to set up an async thunk, and we're going to set up our slice to be able to make an API call to our backend to actually store a user. And next episode, we'll go through and actually set up the component to be able to use that. So let's go ahead and hop into VS Code, and I'll show you guys how we did this. We're finally ready to go ahead and store a user on our database. So the first thing I want to go ahead and do is go into our auth controller. We need to go ahead and, we already have at cross origin. I must have added that at some point. And let me double check our other services just to make sure we don't have any other services in here that also need this or controllers. I must have came through here and tested this at some point. So that is good to go. So I need to add that to make sure that we can actually send requests through different quote unquote servers. But now we're good to go. And I need to also double check my Twitter DB, because I made some changes during my job and it broke everything. So this is where we left off last time. We have this all ready to go. So what we need to do now is go ahead and get it ready to send the data over. So let's go ahead and hop into VS Code and take a look at that. So let's go ahead and close out of a couple of things that we were working on the other day. And we need to first install Axios to make our request. So let's go ahead and open up a terminal. I'm gonna make a new git bash. I'm just gonna say npm I Axios. And go ahead and install that. Should only take a couple seconds here. All right, we're good to go there. And now we're gonna go ahead and hop into our register slice. So let's close out of a couple things, go into our register slice, and we need to go ahead and import create async thunk. That way we can make asynchronous calls from our service here, or a slice. Then we need to go ahead and create the async thunk. We also are going to need Axios, so go ahead and import Axios as well from Axios. So now that we have Axios and create async thunk installed, we're going to come down below here. We're going to go ahead and make the function that actually creates the request. So export const register user. This is going to equal to create async thunk. And then inside here, we're going to say register. And this is a terrible naming convention, but whatever, slash register. And then we're going to go ahead and say async. And we're going to say user colon register user. And then we're also going to say thunk API. So now that we have this register user, we actually need to go ahead and create that interface. So I'm going to go above where we initialize our initial state and say interface register user. And this is just going to be a special interface specifically for here. That's just going to take in the first name, which is a string. It's going to take in a last name, which is a string. It's going to take in email, which is a string. Finally, it's going to take in a date of birth, which is going to be converted to a string. So this is because we don't need all of the fields that are inside the register slice slate to send it over. All we actually need are these 4 fields. So now we can do the actual logic. So we're going to go ahead and say try. And inside the try, we can say const request is equal to await axios.post. And we're going to post to http:// localhost 8000/auth/register. We're going to pass in that user object. We're going to say return await rec.data. We're going to catch any exceptions. So catch E. And if it catches an exception, we're going to return thunk API.reject with value, and then reject with that E. So again, this is essentially how they tell you to do it whenever you're using the new version of Redux. So it's nothing special here. Now we need to go ahead and actually register this reducer in the bottom. To do that, we're going to use something called extra reducers. Extra reducers. And this is going to take in a builder. And then we have our function here. So now these are going to be the different cases for things going on in our register user. So this is going to be things like pending. So we're waiting for it to come back, fulfilled whenever it's fulfilled, or rejected. We can do something along that line. So this is going to essentially allow us to change our state and such. So first we'll say builder, builder.add case. And this is going to be register user.pending. And we're going to have our state passed in and any action passed in as well. And here we go. So state.loading is going to equal to true. And then we'll, true. We'll go ahead and return state. So we'll just say, hey, we're in the loading state, and that's it. Then we'll have a builder add case, and this is going to be for register user. This is going to be for dot fulfilled. So was it successful? It's going to take in the state, and it's going to take in the action once again, just like last time. There we go. So here we're going to say state.loading is going to equal false because we're not loading anymore. Then we'll say state.error is also equal to false because, hey, it didn't error out. State.step plus plus, and then return the state. If we want to, we could do that slightly different, but this is kind of like the easiest way to do it. Finally, we'll have our builder.add case. And once again, this will be register user. Pass in our state and our action. And do one of these. And this should register user.rejected. So what happens if there's an error? Say state.error is equal to true. Say state.loading is equal to false, because we technically finished, but we had an error. And finally, we return the state. So now that should wrap up our slice for now. We can use this to go ahead and actually register people. So now what we want to do is go ahead and hop into our register form 3 and make it so we can use this as the reducer, or use this reducer. Unfortunately, that's going to be it for today. If you guys enjoyed, please stick around for the next episode by hitting that subscribe button. You'll know exactly when it comes out, especially with that bell icon. If you did enjoy the content today, please sure to leave a thumbs up. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs down. Either way, it helps out with the algorithm all the same. And finally, if you have any suggestions or feedback for me, make sure you leave a comment down below. With that being said, I appreciate you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace out, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.